Hello and welcome to this very special civilization showcase between the English and the Holy Roman Empire. My name is Zach Robinson. You may also know me as Zero Empires. I work on the balance team at Relic Entertainment, and I'll be providing developer commentary for you throughout this match. So, spawning down to the south of the map in the blue, we have Mike. He's playing as the English, and up to the northwest in the red, we have Stefan playing as the Holy Roman Empire. These two are from the Forgotten Empires team, who you may be familiar with. They have played thousands of hours of Age of Empires 4 already, so I'm sure we'll have a great game in store for us here as these players show us what they're made of. The map for this one will be Lipany. This is quite an open map which features a large number of stealth forests around. You can see there's a very large stealth forest in the center of the map here, a feature which is unique and new to Age of Empires 4 and one which we'll talk about a little bit later on. The map also has these little hillocks around and small cliffs which make for some choke points which could be contested and navigated later on in the game. So, the English. The English are a defensive civilization. They also have a really strong economy, and they get to field the unique unit, the longbow, which they're very famous for. Now, the English have a couple of bonuses which help them with their defenses. One of the most early noticeable ones is the town center bonus, the defensive Beirig, which gives them more arrows on their town center and makes it very difficult to attack the English in the Dark Age or even in the early Feudal Age. In Age of Empires 4, town centers have very large line of sights, and they have very large ranges as well. So getting in here and doing damage to these villagers which are in the safety of this town center will certainly be a difficult task. We'll talk a lot more about the bonuses and what these civilizations are capable of as we go, but let's first of all think about, well, what are they aiming to do in the early game? What's their objective? Well, aside from building up their economy and adding more villagers to grow their empire, they're looking to get towards the Feudal Age. In Age of Empires 4, in order to advance through the ages, you build mighty landmarks, which give you sometimes immediate benefits and sometimes benefits for the rest of the game. These landmarks cost different amounts for each age, but for the Feudal Age, it costs 400 food and 200 gold to build your first landmark. And at each age, you have a choice between two landmarks, each of them giving you different bonuses, which can suit different playstyles, and also be more useful in certain situations, depending on how the game is playing out. So, with food and gold top of mind, we can see Mike sending a lot of villagers to gather the sheep underneath the town center, and also mine gold out here, just to the north of his town center. He's also going out to build a mill and gather the deer a little bit further away from the safety of his town center, but with the added benefit of a faster gather rate than the sheep. On the other side of the map, we have Stefan playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and again, this is another defensive civilization. They also benefit from having the unique religious unit, the Prelate, and we already see that Stefan, coming straight out to the deer patch, has a Prelate waving his arms around and blessing those villagers. Blessed villagers will gather resources 40% faster, and so building a Prelate early is really key to having success with the Holy Roman Empire. But their defensive bonuses don't come from having a powerful town center, although the town center does empower the buildings around it. Any building that is built close to the Holy Roman Empire town center gets access to the emergency repairs ability, which enables them to heal up very quickly for a short period of time, and that could make the difference between saving your building or losing it, and even potentially turn the tide of a battle or the game. That said, both players now going up to the Feudal Age. Just at 4 minutes here, they're starting to build their first landmarks. So Mike, for the English, is going down with the Council Hall. He has the choice between the Council Hall or the Abbey of Kings. The Council Hall is a very powerful landmark because it allows him to build his unique unit, the longbow, at twice the speed of a regular archery range. This thing is essentially 2 archery ranges, and he's going to have that ready to go and pump out longbows as soon as he reaches the Feudal Age here. His other option, which he's not built this game but may build in future games, is the Abbey of Kings, which allows him to heal up units nearby. Stefan, on the other hand, he's going up with the Mindwerk Palace. This is a glorified blacksmith It means that he can train or research, technologies here at a 25% discount. And the blacksmith technologies can be really impactful in Age of Empires, for giving units extra armor and attack can really mean the difference between a win or a loss in these early engagements especially. So we expect Stefan to maybe have the upper hand in the tech here over the next few minutes of gameplay. But also, he could have built the Archon Chapel as his feudal age landmark, and that would have enabled a prelate to garrison inside and inspire a large area of his economy with just one prelate instead of having to build multiple. So both players in the feudal age now, we can see Stefan immediately adds a stable. So it looks like he wants to use the stable to make some early horsemen and potentially go and raid against Mike and maybe find some villagers which might be exposed out of the safety of the town center, such as these villagers on the deer right here. Mike, on the other hand, he's, as we said, gone up with the council hall, and he's adding in longbows already, and he's already rallying them across the map. The longbow is unique to the English, of course. It replaces the archer in the archery range. In this case, he's training it from the council hall, but it's a very, very powerful unit. It has additional range, it has additional attack damage. But that comes at a cost. The longbow is a little bit more expensive than the archer, and it's also a lot slower. So if the longbows get caught out of position and can't escape, then they're more likely to go down and get taken out if they're unable to get out safely. However, this early aggression is certainly enough to push Stefan off of his hunt. Although there's not a huge amount of hunt left, he'll be retreating those villagers away and bringing over a horseman. Now, if you're playing as the Holy Roman Empire, or any civilization for that matter, against the English, starting with horsemen is a great strategic decision. Now, longbows are really powerful, but they do have one crucial weakness, and that is light cavalry, or cavalry in general. The horseman has double damage against ranged units, and a couple of horsemen here will easily take care of those longbows and give Stefan the ability to potentially push out and send Mike away. And you can see he's already retreating back now, as those horsemen will very easily catch him and take him out if he were to get caught. That said, the horsemen are also great for raiding and being mobile. So Stefan is able to counter-attack now and maybe find some villagers in the wood line, or maybe even get a couple of straggling longbows and get some easy kills there as well. At home, Stefan adding in an outpost here, that will give him a lot of extra vision, but it will also give him a lot of extra defense against longbows. Since longbows don't have the ability to wield torches and they fire arrows instead, they're very ineffective at killing buildings. And so an early outpost is a great way to shut down a longbow rush and give you peace of mind when you send your army out away from the safety of your base. The English, they also have the ability to train the early men-at-arms, or the vanguard men-at-arms even, in the Dark Age. They have access to the men-at-arms earlier than any other civilization in the game, but in this game, the longbow seems to be the way to go, and Mike's supplementing his longbows with some spearmen here so that he can counter the horsemen in turn. So while the horsemen are great against the longbows with their double damage, the spearmen are great against cavalry with triple damage, plus 16 there against cavalry units on these hardened spearmen. The English longbow also has some special abilities. We already saw him deploy the palings earlier on, but unfortunately for Mike, they weren't too effective. The paling is an active ability on the longbow. It does take 5 seconds for the paling to deploy, but it makes them much more effective at fighting against cavalry, as cavalry that strike the palings are stunned for 2.5 seconds, and they take some bonus damage as well. So Stefan does have to watch out for the palings of Mike, and Mike will certainly want to get them deployed if he senses that a cavalry charge could be imminent. However, for now, Stefan taking advantage of these outposts here, not only do they give him great vision and forewarning that this army is on the edge of his base here, but it also gives him the ability to garrison inside and protect any villagers from this marauding army. Oh, and we've got some archers from Stefan as well. So this is a great composition for Stefan. He's got archers, which deal great damage against the spearmen, and he's got horsemen, which can deal very niftily with the longbows as well. So we'll see quite a little bit of back and forth, posturing, micro, as these players try to get the most favorable engagement possible. However, back to the outpost here. In Age of Empires 4, any unit that garrisons inside of a building adds an arrow to that building's firepower. So an outpost by default isn't able to fire back, but as soon as you put 5 villagers in there, it gains the ability to shoot 5 arrows. And that could be any unit. It could be villagers, it could be archers, it could even be horsemen, giving them that ability to shoot out. But you can also upgrade your outpost with emplacements. And that's one of the special advantages of the Holy Roman Empire. They get discounted emplacements. Emplacements can only be built on one outpost at a time, but they do allow the outpost to fire back without having to garrison inside. You can either have arrow slits, a springald, or a cannon, each of them having different advantages and disadvantages and being available at different parts and stages of the game. Stefan now, though, look at this. He's coming down to the south here, and it looks like he's on the way to go and hunt a boar, using these horsemen nearby to take it out. And the boar is such a valuable source of food. It has 2,000 food in it, but unlike previous boar, these ones are much harder to kill, requiring the group of horsemen here and villagers to take it down. However, it is really worth the extra challenge and the risk of being out here exposed on the map, because 2,000 food is huge, but it also gathers extremely quickly. Wow, oh my goodness, Mike just reached the castle age. So all of this time, Stefan's sort of defending, and Mike sees that as an opportunity to go up to the castle age very quickly here at just 11 minutes. He's gone up with the King's Palace. This is his castle age landmark, and this actually acts as a town centre. The English landmarks are fairly straightforward actually, but also very, very powerful. Getting a town centre up as soon as you reach the castle age is really strong. He's able to grow his economy twice as fast now, and also have the protection of the town centre as he can garrison inside, and you can see the network of castles buff coming on as those horsemen run in, giving those units or any units nearby additional attack speed. His other Castle Age landmark choice would have been the White Tower. That actually acts as a keep, but I think Mike feels very comfortable in his position at the moment. He's not under too much pressure from Stefan, and he can get away with the town centre and be a bit more greedy by growing his economy instead. As he pushes out across the map, though, he is pushing into the Stealth Forest. Now let's turn on the Fog of War for Mike, and you can see just how going into the Stealth Forest changes everything. The map goes from being really lit up and bright to being very dark and mysterious. Units inside of the Stealth can't see very far, and units outside of the Stealth can't see in. That makes going into stealth very dangerous, and it gives players the opportunity to spring a trap or an ambush by hiding units in the stealth forest strategically. In this case, though, Mike's not hiding anything in the stealth forest. He's barreling straight through it and trying to pressure Stefan here. Stefan still in the feudal age right now, so Mike has a tech advantage. He's researched veteran longbow, he's researched veteran spearman, and these powerful upgrades as he tiers his units up makes them significantly stronger with more health, more damage, in some cases more armor as well. However, looks like the defensive outposts from Stefan are a little too difficult for Mike to push in and break through for the time being, and Stefan on the other side of the map looking to once again find an angle of attack to get into Mike's economy, but that is no easy task. This town centre is more than capable of dealing with a few feudal age horsemen. So the Stealth Forest is such a cool, unique mechanic, and it really helps players to spring those ambushes. There is, however, counterplay, and that is the Scout Cavalry. Scout Cavalries can see into the Stealth Forest, and they can see out of the Stealth Forest as well. And so players oftentimes will bring a scout with them just for that little bit of extra vision. Mike, though, trying to get a bit more aggressive here on the front. Stefan's tower under attack, The torches from the spearmen are much better at killing it, but Stefan, he's going to activate the emergency repairs, and that will actually give him the ability to stall this army. And that's so huge for him right now, because Stefan doesn't have the veteran archer upgrade yet. In fact, he's researching that right now, and by stalling out, by using emergency repairs, he can wait until that upgrade comes in before taking the fight against Mike. He really doesn't want to engage these longbows until that upgrade comes in, as the longbows have that additional 10 HP and, of course, the additional 3 damage right now as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2 damage. So, at this point, Stefan, taking advantage of his defenses, he's building up, but which Castle Age landmark did he go with? Well, it's the Regnitz. So, the HRE have the choice between the Regnitz or the Burgrave Palace. In this case, the Regnitz provides 3 times the amount of relic gold when you place a relic inside, but you can only have 3 relics inside of the Regnitz at one time. That said, Stefan already has 1, and I'm sure he'll be looking to grab some more where he can. This prelate here going out and sensing that there might be some trouble in the shadows, and I think, well, no, he might just go down. Grabbing relics, though, can be really, really strong. I mean, 300 gold per minute per relic is huge, and as the game goes on and gold becomes more difficult to mine as it starts to run out around the map, it could be the difference between win or lose come the late game. This is great, though. Stefan really using the mobility of his cavalry here. He'll find the villagers on this gold mine and snag a few kills. These are very, very far from safety, and I'm sure he'll be very pleased to kill a few villagers at this stage of the game, given that he's so late to the Castle Age compared to Mike, and that he doesn't have a second town centre, so he's falling behind in villagers as well. We can actually see that here. Mike at 62 villagers, losing a few to the horsemen that were coming in to attack him, but still considerably ahead of Stefan, who's only at 49. Now, the English, being a defensive civilization, is one thing, but being an economic powerhouse is another. We can see Mike here has thrown down quite a large number of farms, and he's surrounding his mills, because farms that are built around the mill benefit from that extra gather rate. They also build half price, so he's able to really get that farming economy going very, very quickly. Mike now also taking a boar on the other side. It's kind of funny that Stefan took the boar on Mike's side of the map, and Mike's the one taking the boar on Stefan's side, but there you go. It's totally worth fighting for, and Mike is in a great position in the stealth forest right outside of Stefan's base. So we've seen the unique unit from the English, but what about the Holy Roman Empire? Of course, we've seen the prelate, and I'm sure Stefan still has some prelates around, inspiring his villagers here and there, but they also get the unique Landsknecht. For now, we're not seeing the Landsknecht, but the Landsknecht, unique to the Holy Roman Empire, is extremely strong. It has a massive sword, it does huge area of effect damage, but it does lack a lot of health, and so it's very squishy. It's very much like a glass cannon. However, if you can get those Landsknecht on top of some spearmen or even on top of some longbows, they will do a huge amount of damage and really pay for themselves very quickly. Stefan, though, is making men-at-arms. Now, the men-at-arms is very, very defensive. It has 6 armor right now because Stefan, of course, has got his Minework Palace working overtime, getting these defensive and offensive upgrades researched. But with the 6 armor and 155 health, he'll be in a great position to use these as a front line to tank against the longbows, which are only doing 9 damage right now. So he's negating a lot of damage with that armor, and as such, he'll be able to potentially take the fight to Mike very soon. Mike, though, has taken great map control. He's posted up here, and you can see he's even built the outpost near these forward villagers, so he's got great vision going out, extending all the way to Stefan's side of the map. Stefan, once again, looking for more opportunities to kill some villagers with this roaming pack of horsemen, but I think he's about to run into some spears, as Mike's had enough, splitting his spears up, coming in, doing huge damage. killing a couple of horsemen and sending them running for now, but that mobility is always going to be on the side of the cavalry here. Mike has also taken the time and the opportunity, while he's got some good map control, to capture a couple of sacred sites. Now, these are a victory condition. If you can capture all 3 in this case, you'll start a timed countdown to win the game. However, I don't think he'll be able to capture all 3. Capturing a single holy site, though, is still worth it, because with one holy site, you're able to generate 100 gold per minute as a passive income. Mike, though, I think he has bigger things to worry about, and that is the Berkshire Palace, which he's building in the center of the map. And all this tension, all this build-up is leading to this one moment right here, as he's trying to build his Age 4 landmark right in the middle of the stealth forest, but Stefan cannot let that happen. He's bringing his whole army forward. He's trying to get his horsemen onto the archers at the back. He's using his men-at-arms right here to take out the villagers, and if he can kill those, he'll deny this landmark from completing. Meanwhile, the archers doing great damage against the spearmen, and Stefan reacting with a castle, or a keep rather, of his own, right in range of the Berkshire Palace here to try and deny this. He's rushing it up with so many villagers. There's 20 villagers building that keep, and if he can get that up, he might just be able to push this army from Mike away and give him the upper hand that he needs to deny this Berkshire Palace from completing. This is so important that Mike completes this landmark right now. This is his Age 4 landmark. It acts as a keep, and it will give him a huge amount of military power in the center of the map. But more villagers are being pulled over to complete it. It's so close, and there's a monk in here with a relic as well. And of course, the AoE Wololo coming out as he tries to convert this group of units. And at the back, there's a mangonel. Oh my goodness, that mangonel got blown up by the villagers. Stefan having to pull the villagers there to take it out, but not before doing huge amounts of damage to this group of archers here. Wow, what a sudden explosive fight out of nowhere, as Mike really puts the stake in the ground with this Berkshire Palace. As I say though, he cannot afford to let this go down. The keep from Stefan is up, but coming from a distant land, the 18 villagers from Mike being brought to the front lines here has to finish the Berkshire Palace. And I think he will, with enough villagers coming in now to finish this thing off. And at about 95% completion, he'll put the last 5% on there and complete that structure, advancing him into the Imperial Age no less, and giving him a great position in the middle of the map. So, the Berkshire Palace, the Imperial Age landmark for the English, one of the Imperial Age landmarks for the English. He had the choice between this or the Wingard Palace. The Berkshire, that has 50% extra weapon range. It's huge, and that also applies to the Springald and the cannon, which he can put on here as well, giving him the ability to even kill siege weapons from afar. Now, for the time being, these two keeps are just going to be shooting at each other and probably taking a very long time to take each other out, as arrows aren't great at dealing with other buildings. But perhaps Mike will add the Springald and the cannon on here later on to deal that little bit of extra damage. That actually brings me to another unique bonus for the English. Their keeps are able to train units immediately upon construction. Other civs keeps don't have that ability. In fact, that is unique to the English, although certain civs do have different bonuses on their keeps as well. The Holy Roman Empire, they have the ability to garrison relics inside of their keeps and also their outposts, vastly increasing their defensive capabilities. So this is fantastic. Stefan also reaching the Imperial Age right now, and it's really important now to look at this villager count, because 49 villagers for Stefan against 75 for Mike is a very large villager deficit for the Holy Roman Empire player. That said, he just went up to the Imperial Age with the Palace of Swabia. This is a fantastic comeback landmark because it enables him to build villagers or train villagers 75% faster and 75% cheaper. And on top of that, the landmark even costs 20% less to construct, so he can even advance to the Imperial Age for a little bit less as well. This is a great opportunity for Stefan to catch up economically now, and at this point, Mike should probably be looking to push a little bit harder. What he really needs at this stage are some cannons, and I think He doesn't have any cannons on the way just yet, although he does have a siege workshop, so we should see some cannons on the field very soon. Cannons, though, are very expensive. Bombards for Mike, actually, with 400 wood cost and 600 gold cost, so it's not a small expense to get those out on the field. Look at this, though. Stefan, so cheeky, adding a line of houses to extend his town center's influence and enable him to use emergency repairs on his keep. That will actually give him a little bit more, a little bit more stalling power to prevent Mike from taking this out and pushing into his exposed economy. Oh, and there it is for Stefan. He's actually added the Landsknecht in here. We can see them in all their glory with their big yellow socks and fluffy plumed hats. Oh man, this is one of my favorite units in the game. I just love it. I love how it looks. I love how it swings its huge sword around and does massive AoE damage. But like I said earlier, they are very difficult to keep alive with just 80 hit points. If you compare that to the man-at-arms standing to their left with 155 hit points and a lot more armor, you can see exactly what I mean when I say these guys are the ultimate glass cannons. Speaking of cannons, though, Stefan has added a couple of bombards into the mix, and no doubt he'll be looking for an opportunity to use those against this Berkshire Palace. He needs to take this out, because this is what's really stopping him from breaking through and going into Mike's base without the worry that Mike can just come in and backstab him as soon as he does. Mike also starting to wall up now as well. We've got the stone walls coming up on the right side and a lot of palisades coming up on the south and west side of his base. So that's a great opportunity to talk about the difference between palisades and stone walls. In Age of Empires 4, palisade walls are pretty much as you would expect. They are wooden walls, but they're pretty weak. They can be attacked by anything, and they don't really stand up much to late-game gunpowder, to say the least. But they can also be taken down by a small group of units with torches. Stone walls, on the other hand, well, that is a different beast. Stone walls are much harder to take down with a lot more health, but they also cannot be attacked by units. You require the use of siege to take down a stone wall. Units can also stand on top of stone walls, giving them extra range and also reduced damage. But right now we need to look at here, in the center of the map, the fight coming in, the Landsknecht doing so much damage against these spearmen. Look at them fall as the AoE swings just cut through their ranks and forge a path straight into the longbows. Wow, Stefan though, so thankful, I'm sure, to have the Burgrave Palace. Look at the range on this thing. It's repelling the bombards and the archers of Stefan there as his front line crumbles. Mike right now in a great position. He's got so many more units on the field. He's got the bombards out now as well, taking, well, he's already destroyed this keep and looking to take out the one to the north as well. It looks to me like Mike is in a fantastic position to push this advantage and take Stefan out of this game. Stefan, after taking some heavy losses in that engagement, he's fallen back. He's now adding in a couple of culverins, and this might just allow him to hold on, actually. The culverin is an extremely effective anti-siege unit. Similar to the Springold, but much better at killing other siege units with plus 200 damage against siege. That's 285 damage per shot against these cannons here, and they only have 480 health, so I'll let you do the math on that, but I don't expect them to stand up for very long against the culverin fire from Stefan here. So Stefan really entrenching himself now, building another defensive keep, and hopefully relying on these culverins to give him the defensive firepower he needs to hold off this very large army from Mike. It's funny as well, in the south of the map, Stefan here really putting these villagers to work. He first of all took the boar, then he took a mine, I think it was a stone mine, and now he's chopping wood. So these villagers have been surprisingly safe considering how close they are to enemy territory and how undefended they are as well. Sometimes you can be quite safe when your opponent doesn't expect you to be somewhere, and, well, there you are. So Mike now, deciding that a frontal attack is probably a little risky, he's going to come round to the side, and, well, with the outpost giving Stefan enough vision, he's pulling those villagers away quickly, because there's only one way that that could end, and that's a lot of dead villagers and prelates, as Mike decides that this is now his hill, and potentially his gold as well. Without access to this gold, and with these gold mines being a little bit too exposed, Stefan actually has no gold income right now. Only 2 villagers on gold. Fortunately, he's got still a large amount of gold income because of the Regnits. This is really saving him at this point, and I'm sure if Stefan hadn't grabbed those relics, he'd be really hurting for gold, and also unable to build these culverins, which, as you can see, just got a huge shot onto the bombard, and actually for Mike, attacking from this angle might not be so effective. We've got a lot of siege right here, including mangonels, which will be very effective at dealing with longbows and spearmen. That said, we did see the spread formation being utilized here by the longbows, giving them a bit more space between them and making them more effective at dodging the damage from the mangonels as it comes in. In Age of Empires 4, we also have the wedge formation and the line formation. Wedge formation is great for cavalry charges, and line formation can also be pretty useful if you're looking to defend from a cavalry charge and you want to get your spearmen in position to get a quick, fast surround. So, Stefan, he's holding, and he's just about holding as well. These culverins have really saved his skin for now, and he's probably pretty pleased that Mike's army has retreated for the time being. Well, at least half of his army has retreated for the time being. He's going back to the safety of his Berkshire palace for now, while he potentially looks for another angle. And meanwhile, the longbows are looping around this top side, looking for some more villager kills, but now completely undefended. So Stefan sees this. He's got a lot of mangonels. He's got a pretty small army, but you know what? Mangonels against longbows? That's not a great combination. Ouch. Oh my goodness. That was a huge mangonel shot. And, well, doesn't look like Mike's going to be getting out of there. Although Mike will be killing a number of these hand cannons, which we haven't really seen too much of yet. And I will talk about in a bit more detail in just a moment. Just wanted to see if he was pushing in with the spears in the front as well. But wow, what a great mangonel shot. So hand cannons, Imperial Age infantry, gunpowder coming onto the field more and more as the game goes on here. These are extremely powerful. 42 attack damage. If you compare that to an archer, which does 10, you can see exactly where that power is coming from. Hand cannons are really good against armored units because, well, they just bust straight through the armor. Who cares if you've got 6 armor? The hand cannon has 42 gunpowder damage, and that's enough to tear through anything. Unfortunately for Stefan, he's not really tearing through anything at the moment because he's still trying to rally his forces together and look for an opportune moment to strike, which could be coming very soon. He's at 200 out of 200 population. There's the breakdown, 126 villagers and 58 military, and he's got a couple of bombards ready and raring to go. He's looking for a way in. He really wants to take this Berkshire palace out, and if he can, he might just open the gate into Mike's economy. It's time for Stefan to try and turn this game around. He's had enough of sitting on the back foot. He's reboomed, he's caught up economically. Now it's time to go, go, go! Mangonels! Oof. So much damage. Mike, probably very pleased that he went back when he did right there, because had he gone forward anymore, I think he would have lost that entire group of units. We've got full upgrades here as well. We've got elite longbowmen. We've got, I believe, elite spearmen, and a bit of a man-at-arms switch for the English player too. As Stefan, no, not the culverins. I think he must have misclicked there because that was painful. Culverins are not cheap. You cannot afford to lose the siege at this stage of the game. Oh, more mangonel shots though. Oh, they're absolutely huge. And I think with the mangonels on the field, surely some cavalry would be a great decision right now, or at least enough siege to take them out. And it looks like this is a great position to be posted up. Mike taking those mangonels down with his cannons. The cannons from Stefan exposed at the back. The men-at-arms are chasing them down as Stefan goes in with his archers, just trying to sit on top of them because these guys do have minimum range. But there's 2 mangonels at the back. They're going to shoot. Oh, I think Stefan might just lose everything. That was costly. That was seriously costly. He lost his mangonels, he's lost his bombards, he's lost his whole army in that engagement. And now Mike, with a couple of bombards left, could start to push through here and really break through into the heart of Stefan's base. He just needs to post up and set those bombards to action. Ooh, Stefan. What is he going to do? He needs to hold. This is going to get really, really dicey, but he is adding more keeps. So he's hoping at least that the keeps could stall. And once again, he's rebuilt these culverins. So if he can get these off now and get a good shot, he's sending them forward again. No, bring them back. Oh, he got them out just in time. And there they go. The culverins now able to snipe this siege. And this should be enough to keep Mike at bay for the time being. Mike once again backing off, and there's a lot of back and forth between these two players as they both focus so heavily on the center of the map, as it's such a pivotal point to lose control. That said though, Stefan now making a move in the south. A couple of stables out here, a keep, and he's breaking through. The palisade wall, no match for this bombard, and this is going to open up Mike to a lot of side raids here. Stefan will prevent this from being re-walled, and it will give him a free and easy access into Mike's base. And with elite horsemen coming in, Mike might just need to do something to hold off from those attacks. This is a great opportunity, though, to talk about trade, as I'm seeing that Mike is starting to trade here. And even though this is a 1 versus 1 in Age of Empires 4, trade posts spawn around the map. These allow you to trade with these neutral settlements with your own market and give you the opportunity to continue to generate gold long after the gold mines have been mined out, even in a 1v1 match. So Mike has got a good number of traders going right now, but these horsemen in the back of his base are threatening to kill a large number of villagers and disrupt his economy. He's got to deal with it, and his answer right now is to bring back the longbows, which that could be costly. 25 longbows coming back. 25 longbows to chase down these 9 horsemen seems like a big commitment. But Mike just doesn't want to lose too many villagers. He doesn't want to have his economy disrupted too much. And he certainly doesn't want to lose any traders. But this could be the opportunity that Stefan needs to actually push forward on the front and take out the Berkshire Palace and this forward production that Mike has set up right in his face. And oh, there they are. Elite Knights from Mike coming out as well. This game really showcasing all of the units on offer to these civs and players. The Elite Knights, such a great late game powerhouse. So much health. Very large amounts of armor. Great damage. They're fantastic. That said though, you just want to be careful because against hand cannons, these knights will struggle. And Stefan has already shown that he's built quite a few hand cannons out in the center of the map already. Mike, for now, though, building a keep here, going to repatch up this wall and bolster his defenses on this south side as he sends his knights out to try and take down the keep, which, well, probably won't be very successful over here. This might just be what Stefan needs, though. The distraction from that attack in the south is enabling him to really bring his bombards forward, and I think they're about to target the Berkshire Palace. They are. Indeed they are. The Berkshire Palace now coming under heavy fire and very likely to be going down soon. Now, one thing we haven't really discussed at too much length are the unique techs that these civilizations get. Now, every civ in Age 4 has quite a lot of unique technologies available to them. For the Holy Roman Empire, they have 3 technologies unique in the barracks which enable them to improve their infantry. They get riveted chainmail, which gives their spearmen more melee armor. They get the two-handed weapons, which we can already see Stefan has researched for his men-at-arms, which gives him access to much more damage. And they get the mace upgrade as well, which gives them maces which deal even more damage against armored units. For now though, Stefan relying on the good old hand cannons to blast their way through these knights, and indeed they will blast, because those knights are getting absolutely shredded by this gunpowder here. Oh no, Stefan! He's losing his culverins again. His bombards are in retreat, but not before losing or taking heavy losses. And things now are starting to get quite messy. Up in the north, Stefan building more stables. He's looking to punch through here as his raids do continue, killing a couple of traders out here in the trade line for Mike. In the south, he's still looking to get through, but the defensive keep will keep him at bay for now. And Stefan maybe just stabilizing a little bit, but Mike, he can strike back using some of these knights to get into his economy and try and take out some villagers on these farms. Now, both players have a university as well, and the university is where in Age of Empires 4 you can research some extremely powerful late-game technologies. Now, it looks like here that Stefan has gone for elite infantry tactics, elite army tactics, and that gives his infantry more attack damage and health, really bolstering the strength of those HRE infantry units. At the moment though, it looks like he's mostly focused on the hand cannons and the archers, and having a real hard time with this very large group of units pushing in from Mike. More knights and longbows coming forward here. On the top side, the raid's still continuing on, and the back and forth over control of the center has really started to boil over. Mike now adding some trebuchets as well, probably looking to range these keeps and buildings from much further away. Now, while the cannon, the bombards and the cannons are much stronger at taking down buildings, they have much more damage, the trebuchet has the advantage of increased range. Look at these guys go. Absolutely laying waste to this keep, which is currently under emergency repairs, but may just have enough. He may just have enough firepower to take it out, and I think that keep will crumble. Down it goes. Absolute destruction by Mike there, and there's still place for the trebuchet, even in the age of the cannon, as he comes in here to try and bombard those cannons from above. Cannons, though, going down here to the elite man-at-arms. And Stefan once again struggling to push against these masses of English longbows and elite men-at-arms. But once again, Stefan thinks, you know what? Let's change angles. Let's change tact. In the north, he's captured the holy site. He's building up a small group of horsemen outside this wall. In the south, he's still trying to keep the pressure on. But in his wood line in the middle of the map, he is losing villagers left, right, and center, as these elite men-at-arms lay waste to what economy he had. Wow, that is brutal. Stefan losing so many villagers, but he's going to be so grateful now that he went with the Palace of Swabia. He's able to replenish them so quickly, and he'll continue to do so, I'm sure, as more villagers go down over the course of the game. Mike pushing in once again, though. More men-at-arms coming forward, the knights as well, the longbows in support. He just needs to make sure to deal with these mangonels before they land some big shots onto the longbowmen. Just like that. You've got to be ever so careful, as those mangonels are so effective at grouped masses of units, especially units with low health like the longbow. Stefan really relying on the siege here to give him that defense that he needs to hold this off. And those mangonels are doing so much work at keeping Mike at bay. Mike, though, is relentless. Absolutely relentless. His elite knights, now with 324 health, he did research bloodlines at the university, giving his cavalry 20% more hit points. He also has the incendiary arrow. He's had that for a while now, but incendiary arrow does give his longbows 20% more damage as well. He's really just fully upgraded at this point. And whoa, look at the Landsknecht. Look at that damage. Oh, he's cleaving his way through these longbows, having the time of his life. And that's exactly when the Landsknecht is so powerful, when he can get right on top of those units and go unnoticed. That's why we call him the Land Shark in our internal tests. Wow, Stefan here doing such a great job of holding on. The question to me is, who is going to break first? As both players seem to be in quite the stalemate in the center of the map. It's back and forth, non-stop action over this stealth forest, or what was a stealth forest, because as you may have noticed, there's not much stealth forest left. Even though the stealth forest is such a blocker in the early game, you can build over it, you can chop it down. And so now that the game has progressed to the late game and it's been built over, it really doesn't offer much stealth anymore. And there's no hiding what is in the fog for Mike and Stefan. Wow, Stefan is in again in the south, though. He is really not giving up here. He's added more cannons, more bombards, and he's busted his way through once again. As soon as Mike lets off the pressure in the south, and as soon as he focuses his attention to the center of the map, Stefan is right back there again. And this time doing even more damage as he's taking down these traders and also the defensive structures that were keeping those traders safe. So what is the win condition for these guys? Well, it's quite difficult to win with a sacred victory here because the holy sacred sites are contested. Two of them are being held by both Mike and Stefan, and the one in the south is currently uncaptured. In order to trigger a sacred site victory, you need to get all three. A wonder could be an option, but I think it would be difficult to pull off a wonder at this point. It's so expensive, and there's no way that Stefan can afford a wonder here. He doesn't have anywhere near enough resources. A wonder is 3,000 of each, and he's struggling to get even 500 gold right now. So that kind of just leaves landmark, and for that, it will require either player to take down all of their opponent's landmarks, including their starting town center. And it seems like that might be the victory condition that they're vying for at the moment. Stefan, still keeping the raids going, still has his bombards in, and, you know, if he could actually get these bombards, take down a couple of landmarks, he could get a sneaky landmark victory. But that's going to be really difficult for him because the Berkshire Palace still stands tall in the center of the map. Meanwhile, though, Mike might just be pushing through. The bombards coming out in full force, 4 of them, targeting down the keeps, the defensive structures, while his longbows and men-at-arms get on top of the enemy siege and take down any enemy villagers. Mike now moving his way forward. That is the capital town center. If he can take that down, that is one of the 4 landmarks that he needs to destroy for victory. Stefan, can he hold on? It's going to be really difficult now. It looks like Mike has made great headway into the front of his base. He's cracked open those defenses, the keeps. There's nothing left but rubble. And all that Stefan can do is keep building up and try to position these culverins to take out the cannons, which he will do once again. The culverins, so effective here at preventing Mike from getting in. Mike trying to take down the town center, but the emergency repairs are active. The culverins are dealing with the cannons and the bombards so very well. but even they might get taken down by the knights at the back here, as once again we have another engagement on the front. Couple of lance connect in there doing great damage, but there's just so many longbows behind this. It looks like Mike may just have the critical mass. Stefan right now down to 180 pop. Still very much in it from a population standpoint, but can he replenish his army fast enough? Can he get them together? I think Mike has just given up on defending the raids. He's not too bothered about that anymore. He's going for the W. He's going for the win. The landmark is down. The town center is dead. He's moving his way on. The Mindwerk Palace, the Regnitz. If he can kill the Regnitz, that would be huge. That's 900 gold per minute that he would be denying from Stefan if he takes out the Regnitz here. This trebuchet's at the back as well, giving him that extra protection from any culverins that might pop out, and it's almost certain that this Regnitz Cathedral will be going down. Stefan looks like he's on the ropes. He's once again trying to come in at the top, and oh, I love this. You can see the villagers from Mike standing on the walls here, and they get this extra bonus defense. They take 66% less damage, and their range is increased, so these villagers may actually be able to defend the wall quite effectively. But I'm worried for Stefan now. The cannons set up right in his face. The Mindwerk Palace crumbling. The Regnitz is gone. The town center is gone. And all that is left is the Palace of Swabia. If Mike can take that down, then he surely wins the game. So Stefan's last hope is really this culverin now, but that just got taken out as well. And with that, unless he can take out these final cannons, I think that Stefan will be on the ropes and will be calling GG here in just a moment, as the Palace of Swabia comes under fire. And Mike seals the victory for himself. GG. Whoa, wow, what an exciting game. So much action. We got to see so much that these civs have to offer. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.